Imagine a world without choices. Imagine you can't make your own decision. That wouldn't be a world for me. That wouldn't be a world for you. UIC. Tell them we're gonna be stronger. Together we can make it right. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. Gonna be stronger together. Time we all just unify. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. It is a natural right for every human being to be free. Free, so free. So the government is there to protect you and me. UIC objective is to liberate the citizens from colonial bondage, them regulation, them taxation. Rob Jamaica, we independent. Be stronger together we can make it right. Our purpose is a better Jamaica for you and I. We're gonna be stronger together. Come, we all just unify. Our purpose is a better.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to UIC Jamaica. I'm used to saying Liberty TV, but we're not on Liberty TV. We're now on UIC Jamaica YouTube channel. And this evening, I have with me in studio Mrs. Patterson, who's going to join me on this very unique conversation today. I hope you can all hear us clearly. Welcome, JMH. Welcome, Lion Rule the Jungle. Good to see you on. Let me see here. We have a note from Lion Rule the Jungle right there on the screen. It says, JLP or PNP cannot stop the rise of the UIC. Vote and make Mr. Patterson the real president of Jamaica. Thank you so much, Lion Rule the Jungle. Always a great supporter. Much appreciated. Mrs. P, do you want to say good evening to our audience?
Good evening, everyone. Hope you've had a great week and looking forward to a wonderful weekend.
All right, good. So the topic for today is, why is the UIC better than the other two political parties? So I'm going to try to talk about that today and tonight, and Mrs. Patterson is going to help me to answer that question. It's really going to be more like a question and answer. You have the full chance and responsibility to write in. Can they call in? Can we take calls? Okay. Good. So you can call in on the line as well to ask your question. Here's the number on screen. Wrong number. Here's the number on screen. You can call in to ask your question or to make a comment about the whole thing. But as you know, Jamaica has been under two political parties for the last 78 years, the JLP and the PNP. The Jamaica Labour Party, which was formed by Bustamante in the late 1930s. In fact, in 1940 something, yeah. And the PNP, which was formed in the late 1930s. The PNP is over 80 years old and the JLP is 79 years old. So they were formed in 1943, that would be. And the PNP was formed in, I think, 1942 or 41 or somewhere there. In any event, the JLP came out of the PNP, and it was two cousins that were in charge of those two political parties. They have ruled Jamaica all this time. They have ruled Jamaica from then until now. The question to us is, what makes the UIC better? What makes the UIC different from the two political parties? Now, my wife is not the political type, so I am more the person that really spend a lot of time studying and looking into politics and getting a deep understanding of all. In fact, I was born into politics. My mother was even now in her old age, she still remembers vividly all the things about politics. She was a manly PNP, and she really loved politics, gone to bed. So when I was a boy growing up, I spent a lot of time with her in the thick of Jamaica's politics. She was what you call an activist, and she was very, very active, like super active. So she was involved in all of the women's movement activities. She taught the Jamal program. She was a supervisor in the crash program, seeing to all the people who used to do the work. She was actively engaged in planning strategy at the political level, at the grassroots level, in places like Marvally and Uenden, Washington Boulevard, Malines Road area. She was deeply entrenched in the politics. She didn't miss a meeting. She was everywhere. Wherever Joshua went, she was there. She never missed an election. So, I grew up seeing her fully involved in all of that. I also watched her being brainwashed, brainwashed into the idea that, politician give her something. So she would be forever loyal to the PNP because the PNP, not PNP, but Manley, gave her a house. Now, the way she got that house was, it's the way they build garrisons. So the PNP government, got an area of Seaview Gardens, and the bottom side of Seaview Gardens, they dedicated that to their PNP supporters and gave preference to their PNP supporters to get a piece of land in that area, a small plot of land with one wall, so she could then build a house on that plot of land and that wall. Now, I'm trying to tell her that, Mommy, you shouldn't need any politicians to do that for you. You should just be in a society where you're able to, learn and earn and then buy your own house. And, the politician shouldn't be doing anything special for you because you are a part of their party. But that's how they did it. And so she got her plot of land and built her little house in Seaview Gardens at the bottom site. And so hardened PNP. And then the top site now was JLP. So when the JLP government was in power, they gave their people similarly plots of lands with a piece of wall on it, and that became, the top site is now PNP and the bottom site is JLP. And so the people are divided and fighting each other. What do you think about that, Mrs. Patterson? Was that a good way in your non-political position, as somebody who is not a politician, who has not studied politics? What do you think about that approach to nation building, dividing people into tribes, really, and say top side of GLP and bottom side of PNP, and you have a train line run through the middle, and now you have people, becoming antagonistic towards each other because a FIDEM party give them this and a FIDEM party give them that, and now how do you feel about that as a non-politician, somebody who hasn't really been involved in politics like I was through my mother?
Well, as a person who is always looking to bring people together in unity, that concept would not work for me. I really don't think it works for anybody. It actually causes you to lose focus of the real aim of, in this case, building the community that you're talking about, or building a nation. So any kind of division really doesn't work for a situation where we want to bring people together for the betterment of something.
Yeah.
Even a relationship, in school, it doesn't matter. I think finding a way where you can get the people to come together, as opposed to thinking that, okay, this is my side and this is what we're going to do, and that's your side and that's what you're going to do. That really doesn't work. And I think this is why UIC is here, because we have our symbol, the handshake, that means, you're being welcome to come together as one.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's fine.
To be united. And so, division is not a good thing.
So you like the UIC's idea?
I like the UIC.
The UIC idea is a coming together. Our goal is to unify people. So one of the key parameters of the other two parties is about division. Their entire foundation, their entire premise, the purpose of their existence was to divide the Jamaican people. You might not have known this, but The first political party in Jamaica was the Marcus Garvey Party. So Marcus Garvey created a political party, and the ethos of his political party was to unite the people. His idea was for us to recognize our disadvantage as a black people, as a race, and to recognize that the only way out of this was for us to be united in a cause. That's why his kind of motto was always one God, one aim, one destiny. One God, one aim, one destiny. So he was about oneness, which is where the UIC gets the idea from of one Jamaica. That's why our symbol is this, one Jamaica, because we want to bring our people back together, not divided by orange or green, comrade versus laborite. You know, that's just not the way you build a nation. That's not the way you bring out the best in people. And so the UIC's vision statement, what we classify as the vision that we have, it says a Jamaica that brings out the best in all its people. So our motto, if you will, is one Jamaica, and our vision is a Jamaica that brings out the best in all its people. What is the motto? What is the vision of the other two parties? If you ask any Jamaican, they don't know what that vision is. No Jamaican, no ordinary Jamaican knows what the vision of those two parties are. What is their vision for Jamaica? Now, the PNP and the GLP talks about equal rights and justice. But have they practiced that? Have they built a society that's based on equal rights and justice? No. You just have to watch the news any day at all and you'll see the lack of equal rights and the lack of justice. In Jamaica, if you're not wealthy, you will see no justice. For example, if they catch you doing something fraudulent or something wrong, you're going to be punished quickly. Just like a taxi driver, as soon as he breaks a small law, he gets a ticket. And he has no recourse. He has no way out. He'll pay the ticket. And here's what, if he doesn't pay the ticket, he needs to go to court and join long line and wait, and it cost him more than the ticket. So him just pay it, even though he probably should have challenged the ticket. So for the small man, for the poor man in Jamaica, no justice. If on the other hand, you're like, let's say, Senator Ruel Reid, and you are among the top NRS and you get caught in something, your case will drag on. You will, not get the kind of punishment that the others would get. And somehow over time, you just get to it. That's what happened to many of the politicians in this country. Them just get to it. The rich people, them just get to it. In your experience, Mrs. Patterson, do you see a Jamaica of equal rights and justice?
No, I don't.
What are some of your daily experiences?
Well, I just want to piggyback on what you were saying about the taximen getting a simple thing as a ticket.
Yeah.
And you ask yourself, why are they really being ticketed?
Mhm.
I remember speaking to one taxi driver personally, and his concern was that they're getting all these tickets, but sometimes they don't have anywhere to even stop properly in order to pick up passengers or let them off.
Right.
So if there's not a designated area for them to stop, how can you then give them a ticket when it wasn't provided?
Exactly.
Right? So you need that area where it is designated to say, okay, this is a stopping point.
Mhm.
And it is only at that time you would ticket a person if they're breaking that particular rule.
Yeah, and
But there's not.
it needs to be practical. So, for
It
example,
has to be.
if you set up points where people must be let off and picked up, but they're not practical, meaning they're out of the way. So let's say your job is where you're going to get to your place of work and where you're going to go buy lunch, where you're going to go to the bank and so on. The point for drop off and pick up is way past there. Then you're going to have some problems. In fact, one taxi driver lost his life because the passenger said to him, "Stop here, someone, and let me off." And him said no, because he saw the police down the road, and him drive to the point way past where anything close to where the person was going and let off the lady and just say, "Mark your face." And later that day, somebody came and shot him and and killed him because he did the foolish thing that the law says. He lost his life for it. And many taxi drivers have suffered because of that. I'm not taking up for taxi drivers. What I'm saying here is this. If you don't have good systems that are designed properly, you're going to have problems. And most of the problems you have in Jamaica is because of a poorly designed system and bad governance. So our topic tonight is, why is the UIC better than the PNP and the JLP? And I want to share with you a number of reasons. But let me pause and just welcome again those of you who just come. Good night, Miss Sonia Mignat. Welcome. Jasmine Powell, good to see you on. Welcome, Alan Scott and Fresh Radio Vibes. Grand Rising, my brother. Good to see you on as well. So tonight, the topic is, why is the UIC better than the JLP and the PNP? Well, I want to give you one key reason right off the bat. First and foremost, the UIC system of governance is a great invention. I know you don't see it so yet, a lot of people don't yet realize that what we have done in the UIC is not politics as usual. We have actually designed a great invention that is going to transform Jamaica and the world. It is transformative. When you actually take the time and study what we have planned for Jamaica, the system of governance we have planned for Jamaica, you're going to see how phenomenal that system is and how it's going to place Jamaica at the top of the food chain, if you will, when it comes on to systems of governance. So our good governance design is the first major difference between us and the other two parties. The other two parties are not interested in fixing Jamaica. They're interested in holding on to power. So if you notice, they're comfortable with the back and forth. They're comfortable with the division of our people, and they're fully engaged in the distraction of our people, while a few are able to extract the wealth of the nation. And so the UIC is actually resolving that problem. So the first thing that separates us from them, number one, we are a party that is 100% owned by the people instead of by big business or by the colonial powers. This is a very, very important principle that you need to know and fully understand. That the UIC is owned by the people. That's a big distinction. The UIC is owned by the people. The other two parties are owned by the PSOJ oligarchs. What do you say to that, Mrs. Patterson?
How do you explain that?
How do I own? Yes, good. So Mrs. Patterson is asking us to explain, how do we explain that the UIC is owned by the people, while the other two parties are owned by the PSOJ oligarchs? Very simple. The UIC gets its funding from the ordinary Jamaican people. You, me, Mrs. Patterson, all the way come together and sponsor this party to work on our behalf. So all the money that we spend in order to win the affection, win the trust, win the confidence of the Jamaican people comes from the Jamaican people funding us and giving us that footing that we can communicate with you the plans, the vision, the mission, the objectives of the UIC. So unlike the other two parties, which gets their mission mandate from the private sector organization of Jamaica, the richest companies in Jamaica who gives them millions and billions of dollars and then control their agenda and dictate to them what they can or cannot do. And they don't do this in the open. All of this is done behind the scene. Yeah, backdoor deals. And so when you see the two parties talking, yes, they will make you a lot of promises, this promise, that promise, but you'll notice year after year after year, they fail to deliver. Why do they fail to deliver? Because they're not really working for you. They're not working for our best interests as a people. They're working in the best interest of their funders. So they are funded by the PSOJ oligarchies, while we, the UIC, are funded by the small men and women here in Jamaica and around the world. It's your $25 US, your $10 US, your $5 US. It is your $500 Jamaican, your $1,000 Jamaican, your $5,000 Jamaican, your $10,000 Jamaican. That is what we are using to build an inclusive political movement that is 100% committed to you, that is 100% committed to we the people, as opposed to being controlled by a special interest group called the PSOJ oligarchy and the colonial powers. Don't forget, your government here in Jamaica is not your government. The government of Jamaica here exists to carry out the wishes of the colonial powers and the local powers. So the colonial powers are the big granddaddies. They are the US government. They are the British government and those who control those governments. So for example, during the last couple of years, some very rich people, brilliant rich people who control big companies like Microsoft and others, big companies, big data that have billions of dollars, if they decide that the entire world should be locked down, if they decide that the entire world should be injected with something, if they decide that the rights and freedom of the entire world should be suppressed, then they simply give those orders to their bigger countries' leaders, and those bigger countries' leaders give those orders to smaller countries' leaders like Jamaica. And leaders in Jamaica now carry out those orders while pretending as though they're doing that in our best interest. You understand what I'm saying? Did you see that in the last couple of years? That was quite evident. For the last couple of years, we have suffered immensely because our government wasn't working for us. So our government didn't say to us, there is a medical emergency. Here is how you can take care of yourself. Here's how you can boost your immunity. Here's how you can lead a healthy life. Here's how you can use our indigenous products and localized solutions to manage the situation. No, our government didn't say that. Our government says there's one way and one way only, and it is the way that is prescribed by our colonial masters. And come hell or high water, we intend for you to use that one way. And we're going to make you suffer if you don't use that one way. We're going to lock you down. We're going to stop you from going to work. We're going to mask you up. We're going to do anything possible. Have your employer threaten you to lose your job if you don't do as they say. No, that's not a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Because even when the vast majority of Jamaicans says, no, we don't want to take that, the government says, yes, you must take that. Which means the government wasn't working for us then, because since we have said no, and the government has said yes, then it means that the government isn't working for us. Who is it working for? It was working for who it has always been working for. The colonial powers outside of Jamaica and the local Bakra masters and plantocracies, now called PSOJ oligarchs, working inside Jamaica. And so every policy, every law, every regulation you see is one that is designed to achieve the objective, not of we the people, but of the PSOJ oligarchs and the colonial powers. And that's what makes for a great distinction and difference between the UIC and those two parties. What are your thoughts on that, Mrs. P?
You asked what makes us better, and I kind of looked at the word better. I love looking up words because I believe they add a lot of
Come a little closer so you can be in the frame. There we go. Yes, go ahead.
Understanding the meaning of words increases our own understanding of things and you know why we do things and stuff. So he said, why is the UIC better than the JLP or PNP? And what does better mean? Better means more desirable or more effective. Right now, we're seeing a lot of things that are ineffective.
Mm-hmm.
And this, I know sometimes when I personally speak to people, they actually have bought into UIC's mission, vision, and value and stuff. But I realize that because of how we were trained or cultured, it's very difficult sometimes to accept readily our concept because it has not been proven, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Proven in the sense that we can't prove it from where we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's a solid concept, a solid ideas, you know, put together and stuff. But in order for us to prove that it is effective, we have to be elected.
Mm-hmm.
But and so that's where I see there's a little bit of struggle happening with our people buying into UIC 100%. But I am not deterred or saddened by that. I know that the more we continue to educate,
Mm-hmm.
you know, which UIC is an education party, and the more we continue to educate, I have had the situations with speaking to a person from, let's say, 2 years ago
Mm-hmm.
to today, and I have found that that education has brought that person along. You know, so it's a journey that they're going on, and the more you explain, the more you do the comparison to say, okay, look at what you have now, and look at what it's doing for you or not doing for you rather.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the hope. And then you know you have to use simple life situation to encourage
Mm-hmm.
and to keep the momentum going, to keep them hopeful, to say this is it. And sometimes you take simple things like, okay, I need this particular kind of phone, for example. I don't have the money to buy it right now, but what can you do or what are you going to do
Mm-hmm.
in order to get this phone? So 10 years ago, you look at the phone and you said, hey, I want this phone. I don't have the money 10 years ago to get it. But you're going to save and you're going to just make sure that you're not touching that fund. You set it aside. And I'm speaking simply right now so that young people who are listening can understand, you know, the language and stuff. So you set aside that money and you said, this is to buy my phone and I'm not going to touch it. And so you keep piling it up and piling it up. And I see us training our people, reconditioning the mind to say, hey, there's a better way for you. There is a way where you don't have to be controlled by anyone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether it's the big guys out there or whatever it is, you can make your own decision. You can call the shots about your life. You want to build a big mansion, you will have the resources and stuff to do that because UIC would have given you the opportunity, the preparation, the education, and everything that you need to get that for yourself. So for me, this comparison about what we have now versus what is yet to come is something really precious to look forward to.
I like the idea. Well, you have brought up the idea now of the education party, which is a key thing of the UIC, right?
Yeah.
We, unlike, and people say this all the time, if you go back and look at some of the videos on UIC Liberty TV, we do what the other two parties never do. We actually take the system, we take the structures, we take the economy, and we break it down and explain to people. I believe people have learned more on our channel about economics than they did even in school. Because we believe that one of the key ways to create a great nation is to have an educated nation. Right now we have in Jamaica a situation where too many of our citizens are uneducated. Even those who have PhDs are uneducated because they don't even understand the trick. They don't even understand what has been done to them. And then you have so many who can't read properly, so many who can't write properly, so many who can't compute properly, so many who can't analyze properly, so many who can't reason, can't comprehend. And so there's no way that the other two parties can tell us that they are better than a party which is committed to the education and empowerment of our people.
UIC is holistic.
We're holistic, absolutely. It's like our education plan. Most countries, when they talk about education, they think in terms of the child learning math, English, and sciences. The UIC says, we want to begin with the idea of the child understanding who he is, understanding his mind, his body, and his personality. Her mind, her body, and her personality, so she can know, who am I? How do I fit in? What are my constitution? My bodily autonomy. How do I control and own me? That's number one. And once you've done that, in our system of education, which is Afrocentric, you also want to learn how to relate to other people, how to build good relationships with your spouse, with your children, with your business partners, and with the general society around you. So we want you to understand human behavior and how to build solid relationships. And then we want to make sure you understand money. Money is the second half of every equation. Like almost every equation. Every time you do something, money is practically one half of that equation. You go to get healthcare, money is one half. You go to get food, money is one half. Somebody give you food, you give them money. So with money being such an important part of the equation, how can you build a society where you don't make sure that a key area of study is understanding money, how money works, how monetary systems work, understanding interest, understanding taxes, understanding investing, understanding present value, understanding future value, understanding how to discount, all of these things. And we have lived in a country where these three elements are downplayed. And instead, what we do is build a nation, pushing everybody through the same strainer, a simple strainer, a bad strainer of focusing on passing exams to get a job. That's the focus of our education system, passing exams to get a job, instead of a system on passing life, succeeding at life, succeeding as a person who understands himself, who understands others, and who understands the world around him, so he can make wholesome, effective decisions. Your thoughts? I thought you were going to say something. So let's take some pointers here. It says, Mr. Patterson, if the two other parties is corrupt, how they're going to teach economics? Very good, Mackie Mac. Makes perfect sense. They cannot. Yeah, they cannot solve the problem of education because they're so corrupt. And Sonia Bignut says, yes, Mr. P, I learn something every time class is in session. Wonderful. And Alan Scott says, Obama did it. We can get it done with Mr. and Mrs. Patterson. Thank you. And by the way, Alan Scott, I saw your comment earlier on that we should pop out some champagne and drink. Next time we're going to do that. Good idea. We'll pop out some champagne and have that on the program. But tonight, what I have for you, like I had last night, a little commercial. You want to get a bottle of Be Sweet honey, Be Sweet Jamaica honey, pure, wholesome, organic honey produced right here in St. Elizabeth in the beautiful country of Jamaica and shipped around the world. We have customers in the US, Canada, recently Germany, and we, of course, sell the product here in Jamaica too. So get your bottle of Be Sweet honey by going to besweetjamaica.com. That's BEE sweetjamaica.com and order your bottle of Be Sweet honey today. Thank you. How did I do on my commercial today? Did I improve? I hope I improved. Thank you so much. Pure honey, Alan Scott, pure honey. Oh, by the way, you can get one of these for your honey this Christmas. So be sweet and love your honey. Take care. All right, good. Now back to the regular program. My commercial break is over. We're going to talk more. So earlier on, I told you one of the absolutely key reason that makes the UIC better than the other two parties is that our party is 100% owned by the people and not by big business or by the colonial powers. Now, number two, now, the political process that we're advocating, that we're putting forward, the political process that we're putting forward is 100% publicly funded and thus no longer controlled by the big business oligarchs. Now, that is something you really want to fully understand. You really want to understand this. Think about it carefully. What the UIC is advocating for, when you elect us, Jamaica is going to have a 100% publicly funded campaign financing system. What does this mean? This is really phenomenal. This is earth-shattering. Right now, the way the political system is run in Jamaica, campaigns are funded by big business, primarily big business. So I won't name them, the big banks and all of that, they give, like last election, the big businesses in Jamaica gave to the two parties $330 million to market to you, to buy your votes, to trick you up, to get you to vote for them. Now, notice, the big business don't care which of the two you vote for because they own both of them. All they did was to simply give you the illusion of a choice. So you have an illusion now. And you think, oh, me go and vote PNP because me like Mark. Or me go and vote GLP because me like Andrew. Or my mother was a PNP. Or my father was a GLP. Whatever your reasoning is. Or you like the advertisement. You like how the PNP ad was. You like for them dub plate. Or you like the clocks from the GLP. Or you like this or that. Whatever it is. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because all you're doing is voting for one side or the other of the same coin, controlled and owned by the PSOJ oligarchy. Yeah? So, how the UIC is going to change that now? When we are elected and we change the constitution, you will have what is called a 100% publicly funded finance system. What does this mean? It means that every candidate will get equal access to radio, television, internet, debates, and town halls. They don't have to raise a single cent. So no more big business getting to buy the parties and to buy the candidates, because the parties won't be able to fund any candidate. Big business won't be able to fund any candidate. In fact, nobody will be able to fund any candidate. All candidates, once they have passed the requirements like passing the good governance test, getting their nominees to sign off on their paper, proving that they have the competencies, then they're ready to go. Let's hear from Mr. Frey. 1 second. Hello, good night. Welcome to UIC Jamaica.
Yeah, good night, Mr. Patterson and Mrs. Patterson.
Hi, Shane.
Good night to you, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you for
good
joining
night.
us.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here in my front room watching you guys. Not too long come from work because I'm on the night shift,
Good, wonderful. Well, I'm glad you can join us. Do you have a question or comment you want to share with us tonight?
Yeah, what I would like for you guys to do is see if you can make some more little short videos.
Mm-hmm.
Some short videos that's like we can share and people more interested into watching, because I notice like even though it's hard to get the message into the short videos, even though that, because when you share the long videos, it's like it kind of like turn off people, because you know how we Jamaican is like sometimes we don't have any patience for certain things, and it's hard for us to like just accept certain things, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Well, I understand what you're saying, and we have short videos. If you go to our TikTok channel, you'll see that we have lots of short videos, like 3 minutes and 5 minutes and 9 minutes and 10 minutes. So check those out.
Okay,
Yeah,
because
man.
I'm not on TikTok, so that is why that's the reason why I'm not on TikTok.
And we share some on
Yeah.
WhatsApp. So now that you mentioned this, I will ask the team to share a lot of those videos again on our WhatsApp platform so you can have them. And here's the thing too, even though these videos are long, if people want to learn, they will come, because I see them on other videos that are 2 hours long, which is more lavish and more gossipy and so on. So if they want it, man, they will come. But you're right, we must have short videos, and we'll have those too. But thanks again for calling, and stay tuned while we talk about the rest of the topic here.
Yeah, man, I hardly get to watch you guys live, so it's a blessing to get you live right now, so I always watch the repeat video,
Wonderful. We're glad you could join us tonight live. Go ahead.
Whole heap of respect to what you guys doing. I mean, redoing, because I'm a member. I join, I give my little donation every month and all of that.
Yes.
I could give more, but you know how things
Listen,
is. But,
every little.
I spread the news all around. I tell everybody at work. I tell everybody on the road. Everybody,
Where are you? Where in Jamaica are you?
Oh, I'm in London.
Oh, you're in London, England, Mr. Frey. That's right. You're in London. Well, keep spreading the word, sir. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
All right.
All the best. Take care.
I'll go back and watch you guys.
Yeah, man. Respect.
Okay, bye, Shane.
Bye.
All right. So that was Mr. Shane Frey from London in UK. UK is our number 3 donor. So, the top donors, most of our donations come from people in the diaspora in the US. They account for maybe 75% of our donations. And then the UK, Canada is number 2, sometimes number 3, they flip with the UK. And Jamaica is either number 4 or 3. So local Jamaicans account for the number 4 slot, or number 3 sometime. And Canada and the UK vie for number 2. And then we have persons in Sweden and so on. But back to the main point. What I was trying to tell you is, one of the big difference that makes the UIC better than the other 2 parties, when you elect us, you're going to have a 100% publicly funded system. So no more vote buying will take place. There'll be no more money for politicians to spend the waste is going to be gone. The waste, the unnecessary things that you see happening that stresses you out and create uncomfortable situations, they're all going to be gone. So now what you're going to have is a clean, smooth, orderly system that is focused on content, focused on policy, focused on messaging, focused on issues, and not so much about personalities and clerks and dub plates. All of that will be gone. And so now, if you're a candidate, you're going to have to show that you have the competencies to serve. Once you do, so you have to pass a test. You have to now take an exam. You have to actually go through a course which will be free to all Jamaicans that shows that you understand governance, you understand what you're doing. And so when you get elected, if you're elected, you will have the basic core competencies tested and proven. And then secondarily, you must be able to get some people to sign off in your community to say that you're qualified and competent to serve by their estimation. Once you pass those hurdles, you now get the same access to all of the main platforms. So if you're poor, you don't have to worry. You will get all the help you need to be a good candidate. If you're rich, you don't have any advantage. You will not be able to use your money personally or take money from your rich friends. You're going to be on the same level, the same platform with all the candidates. So when there's a town hall meeting, it's not PNP a whole town hall meeting or GLP. It's going to be a national, localized town hall meeting for your community or for your parish or for your county, or if it's a national thing for the president and so on. So we're going to have a 100% publicly funded system that will do away with the waste, do away with the corruption, do away with the vote buying, and do away with any form of discomfort or dangerous situations, and now focus our nation on the issue. So all of us now are going to become educationally informed, mentally informed, intellectuals. We're now going to have to think about why we're voting for somebody, because the party labels won't be relevant so much anymore. So that's a big difference. That's number 2 reason. What do you think about that? Do you like that approach, Mr. Steve? You love that approach.
Yeah.
Why do you love that
Buy their
approach?
own cards. They want to
Well,
compare it.
And they can't even buy it, because you're not allowed. Good point. Thank you. So that's another reason that makes the UIC an absolutely better political party. Number three is critical. Right now, well, let me tell you what number 3 is. We are going to have subject matter experts as ministers of government instead of MPs or senators, who may or may not be qualified, but would definitely be in a conflict of interest. So in the current system, what they do, the winning party, the prime minister, who is also a member of the legislature. So the prime minister, and I know this is a bit nuanced, this is a bit, a lot of people don't understand these nuances. So I have to break it down, right? So the current system mixes up everything. It mixes up the legislator and the executive, which is not good. Let me take this call here. Hello, good night. Welcome to UIC Jamaica. How are you? Yes, sir. How are you doing?
I was wondering, somebody was in the comments about the channel, and I actually have the same concern. What happened to the main channel?
Oh, the main channel. Yeah, the main channel has been locked down by YouTube because they were not happy with the fact that we promote freedom of speech. So we had a forum from last year during the heights of the COVID stuff. We had a forum, and in that forum we invited experts to speak about alternative treatments as opposed to just following the injection prescribed by the colonial powers. And because we had that forum, they have brought that up now to use that to shut us down. So they said that we have violated their misinformation rules, because they said we're misinforming people because we allowed persons to come on and talk about other forms of medications that could be used. So they don't want us to talk about any alternative forms of medication. They want all of us in the world to only have one narrative. The only way for you to get out of this so-called pandemic situation, is to take one prescribed method of medication. And so because the UIC invited experts on and have them talk about alternatives, they have now used that video from last year to now lock us down until they said we might get back our space on Wednesday of next week. So let's see if that happens.
So what he's saying is that just because he wasn't bashing out the vaccine or anything, he wasn't saying that people shouldn't take it. Because I know that the UIC, because they have been here long enough, there's a freedom of choice. Because
Yes.
what you guys emphasize is that there must be equitable access to knowledge and observation and facts brought forward by relevant scientific research that is unbiased and does not have any underlying interest. So I know that you guys did bash the vaccine, or at least was providing an alternative. Am I right?
You're quite correct. The UIC has never bashed. Yes. No, we're not against anybody, any qualified and competent persons putting forward any form of medications and whatever. What we're against is anybody trying to take away anybody's freedom to choose. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
You have said that so much, and I have been such a devoted listener.
Excellent.
Has been imprinted in my mind, and I can repeat it. Just like how the idiot Christian them can quote Psalm 23.
Yes, so we're committed to no force, no fraud. My body, my choice. We are for freedom. We're for you to have total dominion over your life, your liberty, and your property. And your most important property is your body. Nobody Nobody mustn't have the right to decide what goes into your body. Nobody at all. Yes, sir.
Yeah, finish your thoughts. I want to hear what you have to say.
No, go ahead. You may speak.
Oh, okay, so you know that this there is I wanted to direct you to a YouTube channel. There is that deal with the vaccine and talk about.
Yeah, well, I don't want to talk about that tonight. I don't want him to. Yeah, I don't want him to shut down that one here tonight. So I don't even want to mention the word because you know their algorithm going to pick it up, right? And then them going to say, right. Yeah, man. Yeah. So we're not. So right now. Sure. Yeah, man. Yeah, no, it's not going to lock down. It's a temporary ban on us, but we'll continue to work through. So stay in touch, yeah, and keep watching. Thanks again for calling. What's your name again? What's your name? DJ. DJ. All right. Yeah, man. Thank you, DJ. Appreciate it. And you're in Canada, right? Toronto? All right, wonderful. Respect. Take care. All right, so that was DJ from Canada, Toronto, Canada, calling. And he's fully UIC. He's 100% UIC because I know even all the word them. No force, no fraud. That's the UIC's position. All right, so a few pointers here. Randall Hemmings is saying, where there is faith, there is no fear. We have faith in the UIC. Lion Rule the Jungle says, real president, stand up for the people. Mr. Patson, UIC all the way. Alan Scott says they don't like my comments. What comment is that, Alan Scott? And then he says, prayers bring healing. And Alan Scott say, pray them away, make them go on. And Kwame Gordon says, up full. Kwame, good to see you on. Yes, 1 second. Hello, good night, and welcome to the UIC Jamaica.
So I just end the video so that you can hear me clearly. I was wondering what happened with you a couple of days. I haven't seen you, so I was saying maybe you're tired and you're taking a break. But I left the phone for like 1 minute to do something in my kitchen, but I came back and like he was explaining, like your page is shut down because I was looking at your page and said something looked funny. I know you have more subscribers, so can you walk me back through like they shut down your page you're saying to that gentleman a short while ago?
Sure, I'll just give you a summary. So the bottom line is they went and found a video that we did last year in 2021 where we had a forum.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a forum of experts that talked about alternatives to their injection.
Okay.
And they weren't happy with that. And so they brought it up now and used that today to shut us down for something we had nearly a year ago. In fact,
you were shut down from about last week?
Yes.
Shut down your page.
Yes.
But let me say this to you. I'm not cutting you out because I want you to get to the program. What they do doesn't surprise me. You know what happened? Remember, they are controlling of this space here. I know their agenda. I'm smart enough. I thank you for being out there. Yes. But I don't know how it's going to work out. Jamaica people better wake up. They plant the coffee. When they dry the coffee, they can't smell the coffee. They need to stop smelling this coffee and look directly at the coffee now.
Yes.
It's too much. We need to stop. We need to wake up. But guess what now? I know you have a very hard task. I'm there with you with mind, heart, body, and soul. But I know it's a very tough task. I've seen you on some. When you share your platform with other people, and yes, I know you have a very hard time. You have to be answering some baby question because some adults are still on breastfeeding.
Yes.
It hurts me. Yeah, I see it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm smart enough to see that. I don't have no university education, but I see. But only God knows. Thank God you have a wife to help you stand by you. But at the end of the day, they are after you. I'm smart enough to see that. Nobody needs to tell me. You didn't even need to tell me not to take this drug. Yeah, my phone is going to be bugged and they know me and what I don't do yet and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But you stand up. I'm there with you. Yes, I'm not fully there. You understand me? I'm
Yeah,
not in the
man, fully
country.
understood.
But
Yeah. Uh-huh.
yes, but for me, I know a group of us who stood and said they're not taking this thing, and everybody around me took it except me. So I am standing, and I'm standing of the principles of the UIC. And I wanted also to call you see, my heart bled one night when you have the things that ladies on your program.
Yes.
I mean, my heart literally melted. That's the second time I've seen my heart melted because this is my country. I love my country. I'm truly patriotic. But guess what? No, the people don't see as getting as someone new, and I'm sorry for them. I am so sorry for us. I'm sorry for me. I love and hate my country. You came back. They see what they're doing to you. I don't put nothing past none of those government. Thank you for teaching me. I'm learning as I go on. Because sometimes you come up and you say some stuff. I mean, can't like pinpoint them, no. But I would say I'm a little bit disagreeing with you. But when I heard you go down in the meat of the matter, I start with the pros and the cons, and I say, well, I have to come back. So I do understand everything. I've never seen 100% where I disagree with you. It's like, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, man, fully
I'm always
understand.
on agreement
Yes.
with you. And I know it's a hard task, and I know mainstream media don't support you. I've seen it, I know, but they only want us to see two things. But I woke up a long time ago, and my friend in the state told me about you. Then I saw the activity. But people want you to get up and do certain and then for other people to kill you. I said to them, look, this man has to be smart. He has to be smarter than them. You're going up with a little group of people and they try to shut you down because the masses of the people want to support you, but they're putting fear in the people. You understand me?
Yeah.
I saw it, and I saw that, and I'm just praying that the Spirit of the Most High guides and protect you and your family.
Thank you.
I know they're after you, and I've seen other platforms want to tear you down, but I'm not following the ideas. I'm not following what's trending. I'm following what is of significance, importance to me, and I'm following somebody what I can learn from. And I'm glad that you weren't from any of the parties, even if you had voted for any of them. It wasn't a problem. But I mean, you weren't deeply involved in none of them, and that is what I'm so happy for you.
Yes.
That is why I do, and I said jump up, and I said no. My two kids are in Jamaica, adults to vote, and I said listen to me, if I'm not there, please go out, and if it's not in, please don't. I'm just saying to you clearly. So
Thank
I
you.
want to be in the, but I think you understand that.
Yeah, man, I fully understand.
Yes. And at the end of the day, but I'm going to be on board with you as the other intelligent, dedicated people are on board with you. Or there are no negative flies. Nobody wants to take it because you know when you was on your program and you cleared the whole issue with the banking and they said they're taking the money. You like they want, you know, and they said, "Whoa, nobody will carry back that." But even when you was on SoFlo, and you were there and someone called because they're trying to kill you now, but people don't see that because you do your. Someone invited you on, right? So someone has to go behind your back whilst you're off to call him to speak to him. Yeah, but I know I'm there, and you can't get up and be at every demonstration. You have to be smart. People don't look at say the people want look. You step out and they arrested you. You made a next attempt to say, okay, you're going to join this march. I remember you said that the head of Steve McGregor.
Yes.
What's his name again? He called you directly and tell you not to come out, so you don't have right. You don't have right. I have to call Andre one night and I said, listen to me. Whatever back you're riding on now, Mr. UIC President, make you are able to do that marching with people. I said, yes, and I can tell you that. I said, I'm not answering, I'm telling you, you were the person who stood up. So at the end of the day, I said, listen to me. Someone here to help us, and we're not seeing it, but let us. We're going to be sinking. We're going to be sinking slowly, surely, but I just don't want to be the same. But it's sad to say kill want to be, because how much of us can you save? You can fool some people some of the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. People need to wake up. University students, we need to start talking to our parents or our elders and break it down so that they can understand it in a grassroots form. That to say, we need to give Mr. Patterson a chance. We need to change because people make changes for good. Nobody want to make change for bad, but this is for good. You say, okay, I'm going to change that this time because they have done it bad for years. And you make this, okay, you're going to try this. Nothing wrong. What's wrong? Nothing in making a turning a new page and say, okay, I'm going to give you a chance. There's nothing to lose. You have lost it for how many years? And I sat and I look at this so many years. I just tell you, Mr. Patterson, you're in my heart, you're in my thought, you're in my mind. Thank you for the people who are still left with you and who stood by you. Remember our heroes. Remember some of us still were traitors to them. So you come. All are not going to be as to say, yeah, they're going to sell out and all of that because I've seen it happen and you spoke of it and I've seen it and no one don't need to explain to me. I saw it myself. You understand me?
Yes.
But other people just wake up. We don't look people that look and say how many thousand subscribers you have, yes, but listen, if one person's on your program, you're teaching one person something that they did not know, and that one person sitting and learning something very significantly important because guess what? For years they were done, and there's a choice when they come here. I could be following what's trending now, but it is my decision to be here on your platform. I hope they get back the page, but they can't. Forever, they will not reign forever, but it's just that looking towards the future and the trend that is going on. We're looking for certain things, and at the end of the day, I know the Jamaican media ain't support you. When they do support you, it's for negativity because they demonstration with the taxi strike the other day. They try to drag you in as a negative person. No, but I am smart enough. I've seen media over the years what media was doing because I've watched police come and shot a wrong person. The media said, what is he doing in the presence of a wanted man? So I know all these things. They can't flip no more scripts on me. They can't flip my word. They can't flip and turn around. I'm smart enough to know. You understand me? I'm just saying, people of Jamaica, people don't need to wake up. But they said, Marcus Mosiah said, when our back, but it's gone too late for some of us. When our back is up against the wall, that time it's going to be too late.
Yeah,
is that the phrase?
Absolutely. Yeah, man, absolutely too late.
And they're not seeing it. And I'm just, it hurts me that much. But I don't know. But Mr. Patterson, take care. I love you and your wife.
Thank you so much.
And I'm here following you. Anything you post, if it could have long fire to yonder, I know it's very,
and sometimes they're very long.
Yes, it's very educational and informative, but always sit down and watch it pass for a note.
Exactly.
I have to find jokes to laugh at times, you understand? When I know where to get it. And if it's long, I'm there watching it. So why can't I sit and watch an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours? Yes, I can sit and watch it because this is something to benefit me, benefit my country. We're in another man's country building it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, my dear. What's your first name?
My first name, just call me Guy.
Guy?
I'm a hyperpreneur over here.
Yeah, man, that's fine. Guy, nice meeting you, Guy.
Yes.
And we'll be in touch. Take care. Thanks again for calling. Pleasure. All the best. Bye-bye. All right. So that was a lovely discourse with Guy. Oh, yeah. You were able to hear, right? Everybody was hearing Guy completely when she spoke. I hope you did. She had a lot to say, and she honestly takes this serious. She's not somebody who is just looking for fun and entertainment. She's talking about, our country and what is happening and how we're building or failing to build. So we've talked about two things so far. We've talked about two of the reasons. One is the fact that we are 100% owned by the people. The other one is that our system that we're prescribing for Jamaica is 100% publicly funded political campaigns. And number 3 was subject matter experts, which is key. So in the current system, the ministers of government are also the members of parliament and senators. which means you don't have proper checks and balances. What you want in a proper system is the executive branch of government, which is responsible for the management of the nation's affairs. And then you have the legislative branch or the representatives who are there to oversee, to check, to question. Okay? Now, when you create a situation where only the opposition is there to do that, you undermine the system because, yeah, them are opposition, them are look for win the next government, so you can't really take everything them say. No, what you want is a system where you elect a president who nominates qualified persons to lead your ministries, and the Senate now publicly vets those persons to see if their qualifications are up to point and they'll be able to properly deliver. And then you have the House of Representatives now who will vote to say yes, appoint them or not. Once the appointment is done now, the senators and the House of Representatives MPs will hold those experts, the executive branch, the president and his team or her team, hold them accountable for making sure that the garbage is collected, making sure that the road is properly designed, properly built, and properly maintained, making sure that the police is doing its job effectively as a community service, ensure that the healthcare system is functioning properly and you don't have people trying to hide that there's outbreaks and babies dying, making sure that the tax collection system is efficient and not punitive, and all of that, making sure that the public transport system is properly designed and working effectively. When you have the two of them mix up, the representative and the executive mix up, who holds who accountable? So the UIC now separate that out. Let the executive branch sit over here and do the execution, implementation of policy. Let the House over here pass laws and then monitor to see if those laws are being properly implemented. Monitor to see if the budget that they approved is being properly implemented. Monitor to see if the policies are being properly implemented. And hold them accountable. When you mix up all of it, you lose that accountability. You lose the checks and balances. So the UIC is going to make sure that we have subject matter experts as ministers and not politicians as ministers. And let the politicians now hold those ministers accountable by not being mixed up as being one and the same. When you are an MP supposed to represent your constituency and you're also, let's say, a minister of health, you're conflicted. You're creating a conflict of interest. And it's that conflict of interest which then creates all kinds of other problems. It also makes it easier to engage in corruption and to cover it up. And so that's why the UIC will ensure we have subject matter experts as ministers and have no MP or senator serving as a minister of government. This will end the conflict of interest. This will create better checks and balances. And this will ensure that we have the kind of oversight that we need to bring out the best in our system of governance. Now, I hope you like that, Mrs. Patterson. What are your thoughts on that? Do you see any flaws in that proposition?
No, I don't.
No? Yeah?
Well, not any that's visible from what you're explaining.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a good and balanced system to me.
Okay, cool. Let's see what we have from our viewers here. Mackie Mac says, facts, Mr. Patterson, that's what we want, sir. And Ina says, I gave up on Jamaica until I discovered the UIC. Then I started thinking we have a chance. Foreigners is about to take over our country if we don't wake up. I am very limited with no Jamaicans around me, so I'm always watching, says Alan Scott. Wonderful. Yes, so I hope so far you're okay with what we're presenting. Alan Scott said never give up. Right, so let's move on now to another reason why the UIC is better than the other two parties. Now, the UIC has true separation of powers between the executive, the Senate, and the House, as well as the judiciary. This ensures we have proper checks and balances. Now, this is something that you may not have learned in school. If they taught if they taught civics in school and taught it properly, you would have understood the difference between the executive branch, the Senate, the House, and the judiciary. In short, the executive branch of government is supposed to carry out policy. The House of Representatives is supposed to pass laws. The Senate, when the House passes a law, the Senate is supposed to be the chamber of second thought, to kind of pause and give it a review to see if it's really going to work the way it's intended and so on. And then the judiciary, which is the court system, Chief Justice and so on, their job is to make sure that whatever laws are passed are in keeping with the Constitution, doesn't violate the Constitution. And of course, also to see to it that justice is dispersed in terms of the court system. I'm simplifying it here. Now, the way the UIC has done it, we have built a new constitution, a new system of governance, which separates the executive branch completely from the Senate and the House. Right now, the way it's done, the two parties win an election, and the Prime Minister appoints 13 members of the Senate and appoints anybody he wants from the House of Representatives on his side to be a MP in the executive. So the Prime Minister is mixed up, and he has too much power because he's able to unilaterally appoint anybody he wants to the Senate. Right? That's how, for example, he appointed Nigel Clark before, giving some airtime so people get to see him and know him, and then get to push him into a seat and then run and win. That's how them do it. You understand? We don't want that to continue. We want a system that is far more transparent. So in our system, senators will be elected by their parishes. So every parish will elect one person as a senator, independent of the other people there. So your senator now can be independent, can think freely for himself, and is not beholden to a prime minister or beholden to a party or beholden to those who fund the party. Because from our system is 100% publicly funded. So now the senator can talk freely. The same thing for the MP in the House. Him can talk freely now because him not have to worry about, say, next election they won't back him with any money. Because the UIC system gives him the power, because now his only source of getting re-elected is by truly delivering on the interest of those in his constituency. Him can't know, say, because I'm a PNP or because I'm a GLP, and then will have enough money from the PSOJ, him going to get enough money, and no independent can compete with him, and him going to get
This is what will make the country rich.
Absolutely.
Right? When you have that freedom
Absolutely.
to think and
Yeah.
you just expand your mind, you come up with your ideas. They're not
Yeah.
going to be shut down because they're just in a little box somewhere.
Exactly. So an MP can now speak freely. He's not bounded now by him have to toe the party line and be afraid. Because in the current system, when you become an MP, if you're a party win, you look for a ministerial post. You want the Prime Minister to appoint you to a ministerial post. So guess what? You're not going to create the trouble. You're going to try to be as quiet as possible and toe the party line so that you're in good graces. Same thing for senators. A senator, anybody out the street can be appointed as a senator by the Prime Minister, but he's going to appoint him friend. He's going to appoint people who go and do him bidding, people who go and support him. And even if they have different thoughts, when you appoint them as senators, they're all hoping that he's going to make them also a minister. Just like Ruel Reid was a principal in a school, and the Prime Minister come and take him out of the school and appoint him to the Senate and then make him Minister of Education. You see? And then get him hands now upon the public purse. And so now him can do little things. As a principal, him could have only thief money at that little level. But now if you make him in a disposition, now he can thief some money at this level. I don't know if he thief anything in the butter, but he's in court right now. But the point of the matter is, in our system, now your senator will be elected by the parish. Now your MP and your senator will be independent of the political party. Him not for depend on him, not for hope that the party can't control him. The Prime Minister or the leader or president of the party can't control him. The only thing that control him are the people who elected him. and he has to serve them or she has to serve them. So that's number 4. Beulah, welcome. She says, greetings uniters, manners and respect. Hi, First Lady and Prime Minister Patterson, just joining. Better to be late than never. She's not hearing you. That's a very soft hi. You have to say it louder. You have to say, hi, Miss Beulah. You have to say, hi, Miss Beulah.
Good night, Miss Beulah.
You have to say loud and clear. Hello, Miss Beulah. I think that's Miss Beulah from St. Anne. Lovely, Miss Beulah. Thank you again for joining us out on the Marcus Garvey High School. What do you call that? I did a little presentation out there and a little tour. And Miss Beulah and Mr. Channa was out there with us as well. So nice.
The grade 12s.
Yes, I was motivating the grade 12, but it was so nice to have Miss Beulah join us and Mr. Channa. Thanks again for coming.
Well, Miss Beulah was instrumental in getting us together.
Oh, you're talking so soft, I can't hear you. So, Miss Beulah, thanks again for organizing that. Actually, you led the way to make sure that happened, right? She's the one that organized it. Thank you, Miss Beulah. Very good. So, people, if you want me to come to a school nearby in your community, I went all the way to St. Anne. I also spoke at Porus and so on. If you want me to come out to your school or your college, please make the arrangement. Call the principal. Call the school. I'm more than happy to come out and talk with a group of people anywhere. Hopefully not a very small group because it's very expensive. Like when we went to St. Anne the other day, that was 13,000 in gas and 6 hours of driving. So it's not cheap, folks, but we love to do it because it's very impactful when we go out and talk to a number of people and they hear live and direct what the UIC has to offer. In this case, I was motivating the grade 12 students, about 120 of them. Greetings, Miss Elaine Beasley Anderson. Good to see you on. It's better to be late than never, so thank you for being with us. We're talking tonight about what makes the UIC better than the other two parties. And we have gone through a few issues, a few items so far as to what makes us better. And now we're on to number 5. Number 5 is critical. The UIC is the only political movement, the only political party in Jamaica that unequivocally protects our individual right to life, liberty, and property, including full bodily autonomy, unabridged freedom of speech, unabridged freedom of movement, unabridged freedom of association, unabridged freedom of choice. We are the only political party in this country that fully believes in your right to be a free man and woman. Nobody else believes in that. Everybody else believes that when they form the government, they should have the right to take away some of your rights. We have a prime minister now that enjoys infringing on our human rights. That's why he loves to use states of emergencies. That's why he relished the COVID period and the power to be unfettered and to just say, I lock you down now. And he gets angry when he can't push the needle into us. But the UIC stood up firmly against any attempts to take away our individual right to our life, liberty, and property. And remember, your property includes your body. Nobody has the right to decide what goes into your body or into your child's body. Nobody has that right. No prime minister. Only God himself. And the funny thing about it, God loves to give us freedom.
Can you expound what UIC means when it says freedom of speech?
Sure.
Because you want to make sure that people know that freedom of speech doesn't mean that they can just say any and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes just talk about that aspect. Freedom of speech.
Well, freedom of speech really means the freedom to communicate what you want to share. It doesn't mean the freedom to force others to hear you. So you can't force anybody to hear you, but you must be free to express yourself, to share your thoughts, to share your ideas, to share your opinion. We should not have a society where people are censored, where we take away your freedom. So like in the recent, I don't know what to call it, this pandemic thing, in that recent situation, and even now, they're still trying to prevent you from saying what you think about something. They call it misinformation. So if you want to say that you do not believe that this is a good thing, you should be able to say that.
Mhm.
If you want to say that you have a different idea about what could work, you should be free to say that. And it's also the responsibility of the listener to decide whether he wants to trust you or not. It shouldn't be somebody else deciding that, no, he is trustworthy, but he is not. And the only basis of them saying that is that they have decided what is the only truth. It's like going back into the time of the Dark Ages when the church ruled the world. And, the church, for example, would say that the world is flat. And if another person decided they're going to think outside of the box and say, well, from my observation of the stars and other aspects of nature, it would appear to me as if the world is not flat, but actually round. And the church says, hell no, we say the world is flat, that's it. And to the point where they would even burn people at the stake. And that's exactly what was developing during the recent pandemic. Many persons were being burned at the stake by being canceled, your freedom of speech being taken away. Even now the UIC is suffering because we decided to say that there are alternatives. We should not know, our government should not have the power to say that here is a medication that they have decided is the best medication for everybody, and therefore they must be able to punish you by locking away your freedom of movement, locking away your freedom to associate, locking away and trying to prevent your freedom of speech, because they believe that it's in the best interest of mankind if you do not get to choose and they get to choose for you. So the UIC says, no, we do not want a Jamaica where people are not free to think and speak and express themselves and express their views. You may not agree with their view. You may not agree with people's choices. That's okay. As long as in exercising their choices, they do not use force or fraud to infringe on the life, the liberty, or property rights of anybody else. So you are free to live your life the way you want to live it, but you're not free to live your life in such a way that you use force or fraud to take away my life, or to take away my freedom, or to take away my property, whatever that is. And that law goes for the government too. No government should have the right to take away your life, take away your freedom, or take away your property, unless they're doing so because you are trying to use force or fraud to take away somebody else's life, or somebody else's freedom, or somebody else's property. At that point, I have the right to shoot you. Yeah? Because you're trying to use violence against somebody else. All right. Christopher Lawrence says, greetings to my Prime Minister and your lovely wife. Please remember, sir, to go to Sligoville. I asked already, so remember, most people cannot afford internet, so they are not hearing about you. Understood, Christopher. Find somebody down there now and send and let them organize a group of persons, 50 or so, and invite me, and I'll be more than happy to make the trek out there to see them. Remember, I can't go everywhere all the time because it takes money and time. But if you organize a group, I'll be happy to come. So you find somebody down there and organize a group and say, let's organize and invite Mr. Patterson down, and I will come down and talk with the group. All right? Okay, moving right along. What makes the UIC better? But you can chip in anytime, right? What makes the UIC better than the other two parties? Well, number 6, the UIC is for a truly free, fair, and open market economy with real money, anti-inflation measures to protect our purchasing power, and a free banking system that ensures every entrepreneur has access to capital. What does all of this mean? Right now, Jamaica does not have a true free market economy. What we have is a fake free market economy, which is controlled by a few, and they get to manipulate and mess with us, causing the value of our dollar to drop, causing artificial inflation to rise, and decimating our purchasing power with inflation, and having a banking system which is rigged, which prevents the people from having access to capital to build their small businesses and to demonstrate their entrepreneurship skill. So the UIC is going to make sure Jamaica has a truly free and fair market economy with real money. So our money is no longer going to be fiat currency money. We're going to have real money backed by the productivity of the Jamaican people. Because of that, it will result in our money having 2 new characteristics. One, it's going to be stable. So the purchasing power is going to be maintained over long centuries. That means if you started working at age 25 and save 10% of your earnings every year for the next 40 years, the value of the first $100 you save at age 25 will still be worth $100, can buy the same amount of goods 40 years later. That's by having a truly free and fair market economy with real money will accomplish that. We're going to have anti-inflationary measures, which is built on the back of real money. We're going to have a free banking system, which will mean lower cost of banking and greater access to banking, and no more banks having the power to play games with you, because now banking and having a bank account will be a right, not a privilege of the banks. You will have a right to have a bank account, and no bank will be able to turn you down. Yes, because you're going to have a market economy, a free banking economy, a free market banking economy, which is going to make it punitive for any banks to want to turn you down. So we're going to have the most robust economy Jamaica has ever seen, and for the first time, an economy which is designed to work for the small man from the bottom up.
It's a vision of prosperity.
Absolutely. That's the what? Sorry?
A vision of prosperity.
Yes. So this is the real prosperity now.
Yes.
You know,
True
go ahead.
prosperity.
True prosperity. Yes. True prosperity. Elaine Beasley says a very stable economy. Absolutely. It's going to be a very new world under the UIC regime. Now, moving right along, the 7th reason why the UIC is better than the other 2 parties is that, unlike the other 2 parties, we are committed to giving you a safe, a clean, and orderly society that ensures every community looks, smells, and feels like a tourist resort with services, infrastructure, and amenities necessary for all of we to live, earn, and retire with dignity in our own country.
I love that point.
Yes. Why do you love that point?
Well, because a safe, clean, and orderly society creates productive people,
Mm-hmm.
and productive people makes the country rich.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't believe that those who have been running our country for 78 years still can't figure out garbage collection. They have not figured out how to create a clean country. No, seriously, people, How can these two parties be in government for 78 years and have not figured out how to give Jamaica a good garbage collection system? They haven't figured out how to keep our streets clean. They haven't figured out how to make sure every community have decently designed nice sidewalks so people not feel walking on the road with car there. Yeah? How come they haven't figured out how to care for the environment so we have nice looking manicured spaces right around the country, not just in a Emancipation Park, but right across the country? How come they haven't figured that out? Why is it they have not figured out how to make our country look like the big house for them are built?
But it's not a case that it hasn't been figured out.
Yes,
If
they don't
you
care.
figure out how to keep Emancipation Park clean,
Yes,
then it should be a no-brainer to keep the entire country.
yeah. So them not care.
So it's,
They don't care.
that's really what
They don't
it
care.
boils down to.
They have no respect for us. That's what I see now. The leaders of our country for the last 78 years, they have no respect for. Now, you know, them busy attack all over the UIC saying, no, them and the PSOJ, you see Mr. Duncan out there, they're now bawling out all of our points all across the country now. Them just wake up. They just wake up now to all of the things that they should have done for the last 78 years. And they might fool some away again because some people just love to be fooled. But the UIC is making it clear. They have not, in 78 years, figured out how to make sure we have a safe country. Them cannot manage crime because them is a part of the crime. They can't make the country clean because them dirty. And they cannot make the country orderly because they benefit from disorder. That is the point. And so they have kept the country unsafe. They have kept the country unclean. They have kept the country disorderly because they are enriching themselves by our poverty. Our Prime Minister knows what a good, nice place should look like. That's why he spends so much money and time on his dwelling. So his dwelling is carefully planned and meticulously designed. And all of them at the top have done that. They have made sure that their dwellings are beautiful and well done at our expense. They have done that at our expense. They have kept our roads dirty while making Fidem yard clean. They have kept our environment messy and unkept while making Fidem business. So if them own hotels, Fidem business look good for the tourists. And if the hotel is across from some place, they want to clean up the place around them so that the tourists don't see the whole heap of dirty things around that little area. They don't respect us. They have no respect for the people, and they have taught the people to have no respect for even themselves. So they've transmitted this to the mindset of the people and then turn around and cuss the people. I don't like to watch the news, I must tell you. I hate watching the news. I'm involved in politics. I have to watch the news. But I hate watching the news because I can't take to see the hypocrisy. I can't bear to listen to the Prime Minister. I can't bear to listen to the opposition leader. I can't bear to listen to the president of the PSOJ. I can't bear to listen to many of the hypocrites that are sitting in our various ministries and agencies, and they come on and they talk a bunch of baloney when them know, so them just are thief the money and they leave the people for suffer. They have stolen the money that should have made our country safe. They have stolen the money that should have made our country clean. They have stolen the money that should have made our country orderly. They have stolen the money that should have prettied up our country. The UIC is going to make all of Jamaica look like a tourist resort. We're not talking about anything expensive enough. We're talking about just basic cleanliness. Treating the country like you would treat your big palace. The same way the Prime Minister treats him yard, so the UIC going to treat the country. We're going to make sure that the lawn is nice for the country. We're going to make sure that the flowers them is nice for the country. We're going to make sure that the driveway is nice for the country. We're going to make sure that the wall is nice for the country. We're going to make sure that the paint is right for the country. The lighting is right for the country. The same way the Prime Minister treats Feme Yard is the same way I go and treat this country. So whether you're coming from Montego Bay or you're coming from Kingston, and the same clean, sweet, good smelling, well looking, nice looking, decently cut, decently manicured, well cared for, the same kind of prettiness whether the Prime Minister yard we want across the country. Have I made myself clear?
Very clear.
Have I made myself clear, people? Let me know. If you don't want this, let me know, because this may I fight for. I am fighting for a Jamaica that looks like a tourist resort right across it.
They want it.
Yeah.
The people want it. What they want are proper procedures and
Yes.
rules to be put in place for them to adhere to those rules.
Yeah.
Dirty garbage on the road, like there are piles of garbage from months and months and months now. That's just thrown down.
Yes.
There's no container for them to throw their garbage.
And if
into.
there is, it's
And
full
if
up.
it's flooding over.
Yeah. If there's a container, the garbage will bulge out of it. If you drive along right now from my house, where I live in Bogue St. Elizabeth, you drive along the road all the way from my house, all the way out to Santa Cruz. If you look, you just see garbage along the road, boxes, bottles, cans. The UIC is going to make sure the place is clean and orderly.
It's a big health issue.
That is how you build prosperity. You don't build prosperity by just talking about it. You don't build prosperity by having just stock exchange where the rich get to trade. You build prosperity by making the place look rich. You build prosperity by showing that you care about your environment. So we are going to make sure that all of Jamaica look, smell, and feel like a tourist resort. That copy that one, Mr. Prime Minister, copy that quickly. Quickly, Mr. Prime Minister, run go copy it, not in words, but in deeds. Go and make Jamaica clean, Mr. Holness. Go do it now. Don't tell us about when you get elected next time. Do it right now. Don't wait for the next election. You've had 7 years so far and you have failed. Number 8. Our 8th point is, and this is powerful. I hope you like this one, everybody. Number 8 for us is we're going to have an Afrocentric, holistic education system built around water, food, and energy security, coupled with a community-based police service, augmented by a preventive, natural healing healthcare system, and resulting in a Jamaica that becomes the organic food capital of the world. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
It's a beautiful vision.
So Ms. Beulah said, I want it for my Jamaican people. I am tired of the government scamming the people. And Sonia Mignot says, 2 times I heard someone speaking on a popular program about making all of Jamaica a tourist destination. Another of Mr. P's plan. Yeah, man, them a copy everything. Them a copy everything left, right, and center. And we're not getting, you see, if all of us here, all of us, quickly donate money to the UIC so we can get our message out, that is the key. The longer we take to do that, they're going to borrow everything, talk about it. They're not going to do it, they're going to talk about it. They're going to announce things. And they're going to do little things here and there.
It's just cheapening your brand.
Yeah, exactly. So they're cheapening the brand. That's the correct word. They're making sure that they dullen all of this in the minds. When the Jamaican people hear the UIC with it, they're going to say, me hear that already. Don't let them win, people. Don't let them win. Because them winning, them convincing people that all of this is just talk. They're locking in the Jamaican people into them dirty ways. They're locking us into this by cheapening the UIC's message. They're locking the people into nothing, meaning today they buy 50 garbage trucks. And in 10 years, all of those trucks mash up because they can't manage nothing, right? They're going to thief the gas, they're going to thief the parts, they're going to run it into the ground because it's not being done properly. And then we're back to square one. As soon as the UIC dead, they're gone back to the norm. They just can't wait for the UIC to be dead. They're like, that brother there, when the going, man? They're like, that Patterson fool there, when the going? We're dying for him just disappear. So we can go back to the usual thing, man. PNP, GLP, PNP, GLP, PNP, GLP. Let's go back to the usual thing. And the people them gonna stop thinking that high and just come back down and chill out and living on the crime and the dirtiness and the mess and stuff, and everything is good. That's what they want to know. They're dying for me to give up. And many people are simply sitting out there and watching and waiting, saying, oh, let me see how it's going, let me see how it's going. And they're waiting, not realizing what they're doing is giving away their future. Because the longer we wait to get involved, the longer we wait to donate, the longer we wait to push the UIC forward, is the more we're ensuring that the status quo wins. And that will go right back to normal. And 25 years from now, we're complaining about the same thing and worse. Just like how 40 years ago, 50 years ago, the same, if you go and watch the political debates of 1980, of 1990, of 2000s. You go and watch the political debates of those era, the same thing. It only gets worse. The same thing. I watch them. I go back and I watch Seaga and Manley debating. I watch them. Same thing. I watch PJ and Seaga. I watch Portia and Andrew and Bruce and Andrew. The same thing, people. The same thing. The time has come now for us to get up, man. Get up. Get serious now. Get serious about this, man. We have a banquet coming up, the UIC Christmas banquet or fundraiser, and it's hard to sell a few tickets. So far, it's about 120 tickets already. Right now, we should have sell like 1,000 tickets already, if we're serious. Everybody should be saying, we want to get this thing done. We're going to jump on it. We need to get this thing through. Every day, may I feel beg and pull and push people to say, come man, fight for your rights, fight for a better Jamaica. People just are still going to wait. What you wait for? Who you want to go do it? I am one of the only fool that's going to do this. After me, there might be no other, because they're just going to say, no man, look what them do to Patterson. look what them do to Patterson and UIC. We're not going to do that. And so the PNP and GLP will be so happy. We'll be giving them a gift. They'll be so happy. Them scare me, you know. This is what the two leaders would say. Boy, the UIC man, they know, them scare me for a little bit, you know, but then the people them don't want that. The people them don't care. So the people them just move on. No big deal. Yeah. We have to do something now. But let me move on quickly because we're way past time now, but I want to get so our Afrocentric system, holistic education, we talked about it earlier on, will lead to us having water, food, and energy security, will lead to us having a community-based police service, will lead to us having preventive, natural healing healthcare systems. So now, instead of us focusing on just importing all kind of pharmaceuticals, we're going to learn how to use what we have in Jamaica. We're still going to have the other ones, you know, but we're going to learn now. We're going to invest now in understanding our indigenous solutions from Africa to Jamaica. We're going to stop feeding the mind that is only will come from foreign good. The idea that if it's not white, it's not right. We want to now have the idea that we too can do something. We can have medicine too. Medicine that not necessarily look and feel and taste like pheromone, but is from our own herbs, from our own tree. Let your food be a medicine. So let us start to eat right. That's why we're going to become the organic food capital. We're going to eat right, and we're going to sell good food to the rest of the world. So we're going to cut down the cancer rate in Jamaica and cut down the cancer rate in the rest of the world. Let Jamaica become that organic food capital. Let Jamaica become a net exporter of water. Beautiful, sweet Jamaican water. We're going to harvest that and sell that. Okay? Let Jamaica be a model for community policing, where the police is not an intervention. The police is a part of the community that grows up with the children, knows the family, and helps prevent our young men and women from a life of crime from the beginning stage, from the nurturing stage. Yeah? Let's make sure that we grow our country in such a way that we cherish water. We're not afraid of it. We don't let water come wash down our hillside because we plan for it and build the hillside to properly channel water off. Don't cut it so that things become dislocated. Make sure we have firm root structures. Let us anticipate and plan for. Let us capture the abundance of water we get during certain times of the year and manage the water there properly and share it with the rest of the world at a profit to us. Let us manage our land in such a way that we have all of our good agricultural land under organic production, using the latest in technology, imported technology, and advances in our own technology by having our own agricultural university here in Jamaica. High-class quality university that teaches our people how to grow food in the most efficient and effective manner to be profitable and at the same time healthy. Let us expand our understanding and use of alternative energies, from harvesting biogas to harvesting solar to harvesting hydro to harvesting geothermal energy, and using those things effectively to build our energy independence and not be so dependent on importation of foreign oil. Number 9, we're going to ensure that we have a youth employment solution program where every graduate will be guaranteed, listen to me, guaranteed a paid internship to develop the work ethics and the job skills that they need to succeed. Instead of what we have now, these two parties have used 78 years to make sure that Jamaica is based on low-skilled labor. They have used 78 years to make sure that we have not developed our human capital, and those who are somewhat developed quickly leave the country. That's what they have achieved in 78 years. We have to change that now. We have to have the YES program, a youth employment solution program that guarantees every young person a paid internship. No more gangs. They're not have to worry about a gang no more. They won't get to lose their heads anymore. They won't get to get involved in all kinds of bad things anymore, because this program is designed to fully absorb them immediately and give them a respectable place in our society to learn and earn at the same time and master skills at whatever level their competences or aptitudes allow. We have one more to go, but I haven't taken any questions online. I didn't see any. Bet Jari saying soak seaweed in a water for a week is a good fertilizer. I'm sure it is. Pure Illusion says using YouTube is a weak way. Well, what is a better way, Pure Illusion? Can you pay for us to have a different platform? Beulah says, yes, we can accomplish all the plan you recommended if we apply ourselves. We are ready to come back and live and build a better Jamaica. And Miss Beasley says, can I read that? What does it say here? Okay. All right, no problem. Can't read all of those, but my final point for tonight, because I've really gone over by a lot. Did you have a comment, my dear?
Did you do two? You finished the last one?
No, I'm going to make the last point now, just the last one.
Go for it.
All right, so my last point for tonight as to why the UIC is better than the other two parties is, apart from having a youth employment solution program that provides every graduate with an internship, a paid internship, to get the skills and ethics, work ethics they need. Our 10th point is every adult in a UIC Jamaica that needs a job will be guaranteed a job through our workfare program instead of a welfare program. The UIC does not believe in welfare. Yes, we're going to make sure we provide for those who are vulnerable, our young people, our children, our seniors, those who are disabled. But once you can work, we want you to work. And so if you don't have a job, you want a job, we're going to have what is called workfare. And workfare will give every adult a job. Jamaica is not short of jobs. What we're short of is leadership. What we're short of is good governance. And because we don't have good leadership and we don't have good governance, we don't have a lot of jobs and we don't have good jobs. So the UIC is going to make sure we have good governance, good leadership, and by extension, good jobs. Your comments, Ms. P, before we log off?
Well, so you've gone through 10 solid points,
Yes.
and Bob Marley said, get up, stand up for your right. So you mentioned earlier that a lot of people said that they're sitting and waiting. It is not the time to sit and wait right now. I don't think that people realize that the power for change lies within them. So sitting and waiting is just perpetuating the poverty that they're in.
Yes.
So it's truly, we've heard this song so many times, but I don't think we really focus on the lyrics. You know, most times we're listening to the beat of a song and stuff. It's time to listen to what this man has said in his song. It's time to get up. As simple as it may sound, get up, stand up for your right.
Absolutely.
Not yours, not mine. Your right.
Absolutely.
Speaking to the people. And it's okay. Get up and prove all things. Prove the points that you're hearing, the points that you're reading, the 10-point plan, read the manifesto. Question them. Call us. We're here to answer any questions you may have, give you clarity where it is needed. But it is time to get up.
Yeah.
The longer it's delayed.
Yeah, the longer, I mean, if you sit in a fridge long enough, you know, you're going to freeze to death. So it's very important for us to get up now and stand up, my people. We have to stand up now. I have given it my best shot, honestly. I mean, you know, over the years that I've been doing this now, people always give me advice. You know, there are many people who tell me what to do. They say, come to this community, reach out to the young people, do this. I can't do nothing. I have done all that I can do as an individual by myself with my limited resources. You cannot expect us to behave and do the work of a political party on $5 million a year. So there's no way for the UIC to do what you want us to do on $5 million. We thank God for it. We've gone from 3 million last year, 2021, to 5 million in donations this year. 5 million Jamaican dollars is nothing compared to $330 million that the other parties get for just a few weeks of campaigning. If we're going to do this, folks, we have to take it seriously. We must own the party, own the UIC. Everybody, nobody listening right now should be in a position where they are not contributing to the UIC monthly. Nobody. If it's even just 250 Jamaican dollars a week, you can do it. If it's even that, the membership fee alone for the UIC, the dues you pay for membership, if you're abroad, it's just $2.50 US dollars a week, $10 a month. If you're in Jamaica, it's $250 Jamaican a week or $1,000 a month. Every one away in Jamaica, rich or poor, middle class or not, can afford to give 250 Jamaican dollars a week to make sure you have represent you. The UIC as a political party is your equivalent of a lawyer. You don't go to your lawyer and say, listen, lawyer, I have a problem. I want you to go to court and represent me at your expense. while you're going to represent me, give me a money to know. Give me a food. No, you go to the lawyer and you say, lawyer, I have a problem and I need you to represent me. And the lawyer said, no problem. What is it? You tell him the case and he said, okay, write me a retainer for $500,000 and put that down, and then we can start work on your file. Now we know I didn't do that. What I and Mrs. Patterson and Craig McKenzie and Janice Collins and a few other persons did 10 years ago roughly is to start the process, to start to deal with your case, deal with our case before one person gave us $1. I remember every month I had to pay for the UIC website out of my pocket every month for years. I take her money and my money every year and pay for the stuff, right? And I thank God that now there are some of you who are helping to pay for this, but it's not enough, folks. If you want me to be able to give even more time and more energy to this, and for our candidates to be out there, our poor candidates, because many of our candidates are poor people, believe it or not. We don't have anybody on the team who is this rich person. Everybody are working class people who are going to work every day, trying to make a living from their jobs. While the other sides, they are full-time politicians. They are people who work every day in politics. That's all they live for. Can you imagine? We only work part-time on politics, and we have done such an amazing job of putting together a plan for Jamaica, write a new constitution, put together policies, design a new governance model on our dime. And they have taxpayers' money for 78 years, billions and billions. The government takes in 900 this year, this financial year. They're going to take in $972 billion, and them still can't figure out the things that we have figured. They have to be copying. How low can they get? They're copying from some poor people. We only have a $5 million for the full year of 2022. That's what we have been working with. $3 million last year, 2021. And they have to be copying what we put together using only $3 million or $5 million. And they have $972 billion. And they cannot come up with what we have come up with. They have to be copying us now, borrowing from us now. It should cause you to be very suspicious of them. And it should cause you to want to take serious action. And so I encourage all of you to take serious action and get involved, join, volunteer, donate, and together we can make it happen. We can create one Jamaica because we are stronger together. Have a good night, and thanks again for all of your contribution and for being here with us. Any final thoughts, Mrs. Sweet, before we go?
Rise up.
Rise up. Thank you so much. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Take care. All the best. See you again.